whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show, live Monday through Friday at noon Pacific time. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes behind. We'll get into this when Kim McAllister joins us. If you were here yesterday, and I hesitated to share this with all of you because I was like, first world problems. What a nice problem to have. I mean, kind of. And with the fiasco happening with Southwest, maybe this isn't the best time to talk about traveling. But I had shared yesterday a story about where I was going for the 4th of July. We've been saving up for this trip. I mean, anybody that knows the show knows I save up before I buy anything. So I've been saving for this very huge trip for the 4th of July with my entire family. There's 12 of us, like tons of teenagers, not even little kids, tons of teenagers. And I don't know, it's fallen through. So I'll get into that in just a moment. But the show is starting. So if we can, please click a thumbs up right at the start of the show or anytime, even if you're listening to this as a recording. And most of our viewers aren't able to watch this live. And I get that. There are so many hundreds, over thousands of you that watch the show on replay. I see it in the analytics and I really appreciate it. So to all of you, thank you. But you can still click that thumbs up button. It helps us out. So click the thumbs up. Please like, subscribe, click that subscribe button. Share the show with everybody. It helps us out. If you really want to be a huge help to making sure that this show continues into 2023 and beyond, please consider being a Patreon subscriber. You can be a subscriber of any amount. And to find the link, there you go. It's the NikkiMedoroShow.com. And you'll find our Patreon link, as well as links to the show, to the YouTube channel that you can share with all your family and friends. And we try to have a great time on this show. If you're trying to describe it to your family and friends, I don't know, it's like off the wall. We do some news, we do nonsense, we do pop culture, we do it all. We do movies. We love our Friday food segments that I'm getting a lot of feedback on. So we're definitely going to continue that. And it's our show. So if there's something you want me to talk about or, just throw it in the comments while the show is happening. We fly by the seat of our pants here. And then I'm doing some exclusive stuff for our Patreon subscribers. So if you become one, you get these videos that I've been trying to make more of, and I'll definitely be doing more of those. And so you can find the link right there. The Super Chat is live. If you're new to the Super Chat, if you're new to the show or watching shows regularly on YouTube, because we've hit a certain level of viewership and subscribers, you can actually donate during the show. And that's what the Super Chat is. There's a $sign right below the chat. A bunch of you are in there. You regularly donate in this way. You could throw us everything from 99 cents to $300. So that's what we received yesterday. And it was just so generous. Andreas has been a huge supporter. People that are in the comments know that already. Our PayPal's up. There's the email address, the Nikki Medoro Show @gmail.com. And of course, you can buy some of this merchandise you see behind me. You're like, where do I get that mug or that tote bag or that shirt? Well, you just go to my shop, the Nikki Medoro Shop.com, and you can find it all there. And so, all right, now that we got the business out of the way, except for the most important, which is thanking our exclusive founding sponsor, tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at Moskowitz LLP, AAA Tax Deal. He is our founding sponsor, and he has been there from the very beginning of launching the show since we left Station X. So thank you all for joining us. Let's get into it. So there was a poll out, and this was a Suffolk poll, right? Yeah, the Suffolk poll from the USA Today Suffolk University poll. Really basic question. What do you want in a president? And I mean, there were a number of things. They started it by region, which I thought was pretty funny and telling. So 33% of the registered voters that were polled, 33% wanted their next president to come from. All right, you guys tell me in the chat. Where do you think? And your options are north, northeast, south, Midwest, or west. Where do you think? Northeast, south, Midwest, or west? Where do you think the registered voters want their next American president to come from? Because, when we talk about whether or not Kamala Harris can be the next president of the United States, yes, there's her poll numbers, but also the fact that she's from California. Now, while I agree with you, Jennifer, that the West is best, that is not. Look, a bunch of you. Are we biased over here? I mean, it is the best side. I would love, obviously, to have a president from California. A lot of votes for the West. A lot of votes. Well, Michelle, we do need a woman president, and we'll get to the gender. Midwest, Brian guesses. All right, Midwest. Got a lot for the West. Midwest. All right. 33% wanted the next president of the United States to come from the South. From the South, people. Now, I don't want to prejudge. All right. Things can be changing in the South. They haven't, not universally, of course. But the South, does that surprise you guys? Let me go over. So 33% wanted the South. The next highest was 24% would be the Midwest. Then 21% was the West, and 20% was the Northeast. Okay, so that's just the region, okay? Now, as far as gender, let's get into it. Okay, here we go. What would be the ideal president for gender? 28% still want a man as president. Now, 11% said female, but this was actually the higher percentage. You know what the highest percentage was? Non-binary. Can you believe that? No, I'm just kidding. That was just a little joke. 55% said it does not matter at all. And I like that answer the best. I would love to see a woman president. I'm not lying. Of course I would. Let's see this country run by women. And I'm just not I'm not even talking just a woman. But we had a woman president and vice president. Would that be nuts? I mean, it shouldn't be. Since we've had like men until this latest one, Kamala Harris, all men. Nobody's clutching their pearls over that. Might be a little ways away from that. But most people, 55%, said they don't care at all. Now, they were breaking this down on Fox News, this poll. It was between Fox News anchor Trace Gallagher, who brought on former Clinton pollster Mark Penn and former Arkansas governor Mike Huckabee. Because another thing that this poll looked at, of course, was job experience. So I want to play you a little bit. Let me play you a little bit of this sound. And I think we're going to start with Mike Huckabee. Again, former Arkansas governor.
Look, I do think governors make good presidents. And the reason is because governors...
Let's raise the volume on this. I'm sorry. Okay, so again, he's actually responding to a question of the job. And most voters that were polled for this said they want their next president to be a former governor. A former governor. Newsom, anybody? This is what former governor of Arkansas, Mike Huckabee.
Look, I do think governors make good presidents. And the reason is because governors are pragmatists, not ideologues. Yeah. You cannot be an effective governor and be just a complete ideologue. You have to solve problems. You have to work with people. You have to be able to compromise, not on your core values or principles, but on how you get things done. And some of the best presidents, and quite frankly, I would put Bill Clinton in that category. I know Mark Penn probably would as well, but he got things done because he understood how.
Because he understood how. And so when you're looking at people for president, there is something to be said of being a governor of a state, having to work with other parties, getting things accomplished, running a state. Do you think Newsom would fit the bill, though? Or do you think that he is too much of an ideologue for the rest of the country to back. Now, he arguably has been at the forefront of huge decisions that have paved the way for things like gay marriage in the United States of America. But that doesn't mean that that's going to resonate with every American that's running for president or that's voting for president. That resonates with the state in which he governs. So I don't know about that. Now, again, Mark Penn was a Clinton pollster. Yeah, here he is. Now, he was also discussing the fact that there are some job requirements that certain people, like, I don't know, former President Trump, yes, he was a businessman, which people also liked in this poll, but did he have the other stuff that you need to be president of the United States?
I think with pandemics, with nuclear threats, with the war in Ukraine, frankly, foreign affairs experience also should be thrown in the mix. But I think people want to return to competence. I think they've tried going all business. They've tried going all politics. And now they want competence, management experience, and I think most importantly, bringing the country together. That's why this is going to be maybe the most interesting political year ever, particularly if it turns out that Biden and Trump are not the nominees. And majorities in both parties now are against renominating them for president.
Yeah, Biden is in his 80s, well into his 80s. Trump would be as well. Let's look at the age. According to this poll, 50% of voters want the next president of the United States to be between 51 and 65 years old. 51 to 65. I don't really have a problem with that. I don't have a problem going younger, which is the next biggest chunk. 35 to 50, 25% of registered voters. You want to know how many voters want a president who is over 80 years old? 0.4%. Now, I don't think that that's ageist. I really don't. And we can debate it, and we've talked about this before. And I'm not knocking Biden. I'm not using his age against him. I'm just saying it's a tough job. And you are representing an entire country of people. And I think that there shouldn't be such a separation between you and the youngest voters. I'm saying you can't understand or even govern, but it's also a tough job that takes a lot out of you. And I want a president, if I'm going to vote for him or her, that's going to last the whole time. And I'm sorry, he is over the average age of a man living in America. And then let's round up. Let's give it 8% wanted someone between 66 and 80 years old. The number of people who said it didn't matter was about 15%. I don't know what my perfect president will look like. But let me go down some more. So again, the governor was the top job as far as political experience. Governor, then a senator, and then have no political experience whatsoever, which I think after Trump, I'm done with all of that. I am perfectly fine never having another president that has zero political experience, because that is the job. I have to correct myself. I was completely wrong when I started with the region. The regions that I was giving you guys was from the voters. The top region of where you want your ideal president to come from, let's say 56%, it didn't actually matter. So I take that back. I was reading it wrong. The next 13%, they want him to come from the heartland, then the East Coast, and then the South. As far as the West Coast, we're just a little bit above undecided at 6%. So yeah, the West Coast is not popular, but I think that that's because, there's just been a lot of rhetoric that has been really successful from people on the right about West Coast politics, elite politics, things like that. The style of leadership, your ideal president, according to this poll, the top answer would be, which warms my heart, and let's welcome Kim McAllister to the show. So this was, hi, Kim. So this is a poll from Suffolk University and USA Today.
Okay.
They said their ideal style of leadership for the next president of the United States, 57% said to compromise in order to get things done.
Oh, look at that. We're tired of the my way or the highway approach. Okay.
Exactly. Well, my way or the highway, which was stand on principle no matter what, even if it means some things don't get done, that was 34%. Now, I'm not quite sure if I like the wording of that exactly. I mean, I would have just put party above country,
Right.
because that's what they basically mean. Undecided was at 2%, 7%, and doesn't matter. But they don't care is only at 2%. Business experience, again, yes, a lot of voters want someone with business experience. That was at 55%. 32% said no. Military experience. Would your ideal president have served in the military? 46% said yes, they would like it.
Well, I mean, you think about the president as the commander in chief, so it would be nice to have someone who understands the sacrifices that have to be made, right? Who
Right.
doesn't just walk into it not getting it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's something to be said with, if you're the commander in chief and you're sending, people, American lives, in harm's way, you should know what that sacrifice feels like. Do I think that it's a requirement for me? It's not at the
No.
top of my list, but I would say that it would be a bonus. I wouldn't knock somebody for having political experience.
Yeah, no.
Um,
And I feel like it's not important in this grand scheme of things. Like, it's not at the top of my list, but what is at the top of my list is someone who could have served and who invented a bogus reason to get out of it.
There you go.
That person has no business being the commander in chief.
Liars, cheats, those sorts. We'll get to Santos,
Yeah.
George Santos in a little bit. But yeah, so now this was interesting though. They asked, do you think the Democratic Party is too extreme? Yes or no? 52% said yes.
There's a fraction of
43%
it.
said no.
53% said yes.
52%, and then 43 said no.
That's living in the California bubble where I don't see that. I see there's a small faction of it, but not
Right.
on the whole, right? So,
But then they asked, do you think the Republican Party is too extreme? 61% said yes.
yeah.
33% said no. So more of them
Mhm.
think that the Republicans are more extreme. And if you think about it, I mean, not that it's an even split, but I'd rather be closer to half than, 60%. So that's just my politics.
Well, you
showing.
just have more wackos. Like, you have the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the
Yes.
Bogarts and all that. So maybe people are, seeing these stories more often because you have more people that are, fringe making news.
Yeah, Jennifer says that's the Fox News influence. I think she's absolutely right. You nailed it. I mean, if all you keep hearing is this kind of slanted view, because it's the only news program that you turn on throughout the day, of course you're going to think that it's crazy because you're buying the nonsense that they're selling. I mean, I don't think we touched on it just briefly, but remember Sean Hannity admitted under oath that he knew it was all total BS, this election fraud, and yet people listen to him as if he has journalistic integrity, and he doesn't. He just doesn't. And so, but if you're getting your news from that source, of course you're going to buy the fact that Democrats are doing nothing and are all these extreme people that are trying to change your child's gender, and it's grooming them to do God
Right.
knows what, and it's ridiculous. Some questions about social media though. Do you think social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter have a responsibility to restrict hateful posts and disinformation, or should there be an open forum of free speech, even if that speech is hateful or inaccurate? What do you think? Do you think they chose restrict or open forum? You guys tell me in the chat rooms, because it's a interesting question, right? I think the big question that came to me when I was reading this question was, who decides?
Yeah.
Right? How do we decide who's in charge of it? There has to be some sort of system in place within these social media companies to make these decisions. And it can't be a person because of how quickly the information comes on. It has to be put into the algorithm. And so we know what that means, that a human designs the algorithm. Human beings have implicit and explicit bias. So that raises questions, which are valid. I'm not trying to do some sort of conspiracy. This is the way things work. This is how the technology works. Algorithms are created by people who come to it not free from bias, but with bias. And so, do you trust restriction, or should it be left up to the person who uses these social media platforms to do their own research, figure it out themselves, watch other news programs? What do you think? So,
at one point I would have said free information, free for all. We'll figure it out. We're smart enough
right.
to do it. And then we weren't smart enough. And then you saw the Q people and all this stuff happening
Mhm.
and the rapid spread of just lies. And so I think you have to be really careful what you serve up to people. And not everyone is capable, maybe, of really looking at things and discerning fact from fiction.
Yeah.
So I have to say there has to be some type of control where out and out lies are tossed.
Yeah. I mean, it again, and I'm seeing all these posts about their private companies. They can do what they want. And you're right. But we can't ignore the influence and the reach of social media. I understand they're private companies. I also think they have a responsibility for what's on their platforms. I
That's
do.
right.
So 52%, I rounded up, 52% of voters told the Suffolk poll they do have a responsibility to restrict hateful or inaccurate posts. 39% said it should be an open forum, even if the speech is hateful or inaccurate. So I don't know if I'm encouraged by that, but I do think that platforms like Facebook and Twitter, I don't think they even knew what they would become when they first started. They didn't understand full. I mean, I'm sure they had dreams, right? Delusions of grandeur. But the way that it's used and the way it's misused by people for a small amount of money, and then the lack of oversight and the lack of a system in place to deal with it is something they're trying to fix. And I don't know if they can. I really just don't think that they can at this point. All right. I'll read a couple more of these because this is really interesting. Let's see. What would be for you the most important issue and second most important issue for 2023? So I'll give you some, let me see. I'll give you some: the economy, abortion, immigration, threats to democracy, gun control, climate change, crime, investigating the Biden administration, the pandemic, foreign relations, or drugs like opioids or fentanyl. For you, Kim, what do you think as a president should be their top priority or the
Mm,
most important issue?
So I would say one of the most important issues to me is homelessness. But I feel like that's more of a state issue, a state by state
Mm,
thing.
okay.
I don't know if that's can be solved federally. I don't know about that. So
Okay.
I guess if the most important federal issue, hmm, I don't know. I guess I guess the economy really.
Yeah, that was the top answer. The
Hmm.
inflation and economy came in at 35%, followed by threats to democracy, immigration, and then it was pretty much tied between gun control and climate change at around 8%. Abortion came in around 8%, but 7.6. Investigating the Biden administration, just to put this in perspective for you people, as we're seeing the rise in COVID cases, investigating the Biden administration came in at 5%. The pandemic came in at 0.8%, and drugs like fentanyl came in at 3%.
I
So,
mean, doesn't that say something that people are just done? And here we have new restrictions being put on
oh, I
travelers coming to
know.
America from China. COVID is not over. The
It is
danger's not
not.
over. And people are like, yeah, no, we don't care.
Yeah.
0.2%.
You
Yeah.
have to care about these things. I mean, it's nuts. So yeah, I mean, there's so many questions on this poll. I can't go through all of them, but you know, based on just the age and business and experience and things like this, all I know is Biden and Trump don't check those boxes. Age, DeSantis is a bit too young if he was going to fit perfectly into it. Um, so we'll see. I mean, again, they're saying this could be one of the most interesting elections that are really going to show us what America really is, what we really want, how tired or not tired we are of the nonsense. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we have hit the threshold. We have been saturated by this, bully aspect of politics where people can say what they want, do what they want, and they're not held accountable. Let's just get into it really quickly. With, of course, George Santos. More details are coming out now. The fact that he alleged that his mother died in the 9/11 attacks when she really died of cancer years later,
Are you
like
kidding
15
me?
years later. Oh, you didn't hear about this?
Oh man,
Oh,
I'm telling you.
yeah, this guy. So this is what happened. So apparently his mother, he claimed his mother died in the September 11th attacks. Posted it. Okay. He posted it on July 12th, 2021. July 12th of 2021. He wrote on Twitter, 9/11 claimed my mother's life. So I'm blocking so I don't ever have to read this again. It was in response to something. Then, okay, that was July of 2021. Then in December of 2021, he said, December 23rd marks 5 years since I lost my best friend and mentor. Mom, you will live
Oh,
forever in my heart. So,
he forgot. See, that's the problem with lying so much. You forget when you told the lies and what they were, right?
well, this is what he claims. He says, this staff says, George's mother was in her office in the South Tower on September 11th, 2001, when the horrific events of the day unfolded. She survived the tragic events on September 11th, but passed away a few years later when she lost her battle to cancer. Now we know the health implications of people,
Sure.
firefighters, police officers, because
Mm-hmm.
of, breathing and all that dust. She died 15 years later. I'm not going to say it's not a stretch, and I'm not going to say her cancer was not caused by the dust and everything that was there in 9/11, but it's again one of these stories that he's stretching to fit a narrative, and I'm just not sure why he's doing that, why he did it, and whether or not we should stand for it as Americans. But here's a question. Should Democrats just stay out of this? Because there is a congressman from New York, Richie Torres. Now, he's a Democrat, and I'm going to play you what he said real quickly, because there's this question of, should we just let the Republicans eat their own in this case and stay out of it? Here's Congressman Torres.
You're the congressman from the Bronx. He's the congressman-elect from Long Island. Why is this of such concern to you?
Well, it's of concern to me because George Santos is a pathological liar who has defrauded the voters of New York State. I mean, he has lied systematically about nearly every aspect of his life, his family heritage, his educational background, his employment history, his ties to historical events like the Holocaust or the Pulse Club massacre. And the breadth and depth of his deception is simply staggering. It's unprecedented. But even worse than his lying is his possible law breaking. He should be the target of multiple investigations. The House Ethics Committee should investigate him for his likely falsification of official federal documents. We have to send a clear message that if you defraud the voters, you're going to be held accountable. You're going to be even prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
And I agree, but I'm wondering if Democrats should stay out of it. Like, should they just use this as, okay, let's see what they do. Let's see what the Republican Party really stands for and let them kind of devour their own. I mean, yes, they can weigh in. That guy was being interviewed, as you heard, but this Santos guy, I can't imagine him staying or continuing to be put into office. So what is it, January, right? I mean, he's what, a week or so? I don't know when they're doing the swearing in or whatever, but
He says he's not stepping down, and I don't know if it's good enough to say, let's take a step back and see what they do, because when the spotlight is not on, people
right.
tend to look away and not do the right thing.
I see what you're saying, but you don't think that the spotlight is enough on from Republicans?
No, I think
Okay.
they have to exploit this and say, look, see what they're doing. There has to be pressure, because if someone like this, I mean, how can he be trusted to do the work for his constituents? How can he be trusted to, I don't know, we need to bring honor back to
Yes, thank you.
political positions in the House and the Senate and the top executive role, because if we don't insist on having, people that are the best among us in these positions, then we're doomed.
We are, and we need to call out liars for what they are. And I feel like Santos is a perfect example of someone who thought, look at all these people. I mean, somebody got all the way up to the White House and just kept lying. And we knew he was lying and there were no consequences. And so maybe I could do this. And no one's checking. Nobody's no one's digging around. I mean, I know there's so many Congress people, but heck, I've been lying all this time and nobody said anything. We do. I agree with you, Kim. We need to call it out. I think there's a good way of doing it. I think making it clear that the Republican Party needs to do something about their own is also important to show the American people there is a political party that will call out truth to power, and there was one that won't. And that's what we need to make clear. All right, we're going to do Kim's news. Also coming up, we will update the horror stories coming from the Southwest Airlines debacle that is just continuing are coming out. There was a wedding. There was a very generous offer from a woman who actually went to one of these airports where people were stranded. And then I'm going to play you this video. I don't know if you've seen it. I think this is at the Nashville airport. There was security that threatened to arrest people who were standing in line trying to rebook flights. Okay. Exactly. So they put out a statement at the Nashville airport. I'll show that to you as well. And then there's the question of, has the federal government stepped up to help these Americans that have been stranded? Because Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is being called out. Now, I do think it's a little bit unfair and a bit of a stretch. I'll play you the sound of it. But do you think that the federal government should have and should be doing more for people stranded away from their family in places that they don't, might not have any support system? Yeah. Should they do more? We'll talk about that right after the news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. And of course, international soccer star Pele has died. We have reports this morning that he passed away at the age of 82. He died in Brazil after being hospitalized with cancer. Pele, considered by many to be the greatest soccer player in history, claiming more than 1,000 goals. Here's a picture of him in his youth. Still, some problems at Southwest. Look at all that. What a mess. The chaos continues there at Southwest. More than 2,500 flights canceled within, into, or out of the U.S. so far today, according to FlightAware. The website notes just about every other airline is back up and running at normal operations after a massive snowstorm hit the United States of America. But we've heard that a lot of people just ditched their luggage at Southwest. And now we have travelers dealing with canceled flights with something else to worry about: people stealing bags and luggage. It happened at Sacramento International Airport. The Sacramento County Sheriff's Department has footage of 4 people, 2 men and 2 women, looking around the baggage claim area at about 4:30 in the morning on Monday. One woman left with 2 suitcases, got into a white Dodge pickup with the other 3 people. They were seen rummaging through the bags, dumping the things they didn't want. Thousands of bags are sitting in baggage claim after the latest storm caused those flight cancellations across the country. So I guess the question is, how secure are those baggage areas right now? And are they, is your stuff being protected? I don't know. What a mess. House Republicans will have to refile several oversight requests in the new year. A top White House lawyer telling representatives their requests would have to be reissued once Republicans assume their House majority next week. This comes after incoming Republican chairman of the House Judiciary and Oversight Committees demanded records from the Biden administration as part of a series of planned investigations, including the drawdown of troops from Afghanistan and the business dealings of Hunter Biden. So here we go with this business. Oops, sorry. Wrong picture. Of course, Mr. Santos being investigated and people rallying there. But the tax returns of former President Trump will be released to the public tomorrow. The House Ways and Means Committee plans to release Trump's personal and business returns from 2015 through 2020. The anticipated release comes as the Democratic-led panel said the IRS failed to properly audit Trump's taxes for several years while he was in office. So again, finally tomorrow, we may get to look at all this stuff. Here, Nikki, you mentioned this previously. The list of major food allergens set to grow starting January 1st. The FDA says sesame will become part of the list defined by law. The change now means foods with sesame will have to follow food allergen regulations when it comes to labeling and when it comes to manufacturing as well. Best cities to celebrate New Year's Eve. Los Angeles is apparently among them. That according to a Wallet Hub report that compared 100 U.S. cities with nearly 30 factors, including nightlife options per capita and the price of New Year's Eve event tickets. LA ranking 9th overall, New York, Orlando, Las Vegas, San Francisco, and Atlanta making the top 5 best cities to celebrate New Year's Eve. And this report is sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with your taxes, call Steve at 888-TAX-DEAL or MoskowitzLLP.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Kim. All right, while we're thinking about it, once again, a reminder, click that thumbs up button to show support of the show. I did want to give somebody a shout out. I think her name was Heather. Let me find the picture really quickly. Oh, where is it?
What you got?
She sent me the picture on Facebook, and I thought I had uploaded it. Oh, here it is. There it is. She got her show. But look at the cute picture that she took of us. This was yesterday, 2:25. See us in the background right there? So very, very cute. Thank you.
Oh, that's adorable. I love
so
that. And I like the white.
Yeah, I have the black ones. I think I need to go get myself a white cup. Yeah, so if you want to be like Heather and buy some of our merchandise, there's the website, thenikkimedoroshop.com, thenikkimedoroshop.com, and we'll have some more stuff coming, hoodies, all kinds of stuff. So, and if you wear it and buy it, please send me a picture and I'll throw it up there and give everybody a shout out. Oh, thank you, Jim Slayton, for the $10 super chat donation. Thank you, and happy New Year to you as well. I know tomorrow, Tim Sika will be joining us. We'll do kind of the best year-end kind of look back at movies. I'm trying to confirm at least one teacher. I think the feature, I'm kind of brainstorming names for it, but I think Why Do You Do It is going to be the name of the feature, where I talk to people who are in certain professions within our community about why they do it. And I'm starting with teachers because, I mean, Jesus, with the years that they've had putting up with all sorts of nonsense, not just COVID, I'll be speaking with a new teacher just to get the kind of insight of knowing everything that you know, you still want to do it. So why do you do it? So we're hoping to do that tomorrow as well. Okay, so let's get into Southwest. Kim was touching on it. Now, there's going to be tons of sad stories that come out of Southwest. People are stranded. It's the holidays. Things are being canceled. You didn't get to see mom or dad. Maybe they're of a certain age. You're scared if you can't see them. I mean, your medication. Maybe you're separated from something that you need. I mean, the stories are on top of stories on top of stories. And then, of course, there's the love stories, right? So this woman was sharing a story about how Southwest had canceled not her flight, but her groom's flight, and their wedding is coming up. So now their wedding, I think, is a New Year's Eve wedding. So there's still time, but I want to play you the news report of it because, yeah, I would be freaking out. We all remember, right, Kim? Our wedding day.
First comes love. I had always wanted a New Year's Eve wedding. Then comes marriage. This really has hit everyone. Then comes, well, actually, wait. Is marriage coming? What is going through your mind? Stress, worry. For this rabbi and marketing expert, respectively, you can probably guess why they're jumping hurdles to make sure their wedding still happens. We were hoping that the storm would hopefully pass in time for everyone to get their flights, and the weather cleared up, but unfortunately the Southwest flight schedule did not. Wendy Reichstein and her fiance Aaron Saddleoff are getting married in Houston on New Year's Eve. Wendy, a University of Texas at Austin graduate, was able to make it to her parents' house in Houston on Christmas Eve. Erin, who is in Florida, however, not so lucky. And just days ahead of the wedding, family members and even members of the bridal party, still dealing with the storm northeast, are having trouble getting to the Lone Star State and finding their luggage in time for the big day.
Leading up to the wedding, you know things are going to go wrong. There's going to be little details that go awry. But when the groom may not be here for the actual wedding, it takes a turn and it's much more real.
And it all comes down to Southwest airline troubles.
Instead of progressively getting better, it seems to have just gotten worse.
Southwest Airlines CEO Bob Jordan released a video on Tuesday issuing an apology to travelers and pledged to make things right.
That we're doing everything we can to return to a normal operation.
But Wendy, who is in good spirits, says she knows despite everything, she's one of the lucky ones.
There are people that are in a much worse situation than I am, that they don't know where they are. You know, there's people that are separated from their family, that are in cities they've never been to, that are just trying to get home. And I am so sympathetic to that.
I know you're wondering, did the fiance make it to Texas for the wedding this weekend? Well, the story does have a happy ending.
Yes.
Wendy and Aaron sent us this video not too long ago. Look at him. Look how happy he is. Yes. Yes. The bride-to-be was able to find... Yes, let's get married. The bride-to-be was able to find a flight for the groom-to-be through United, and all is just a little bit less stressful.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. That's why you don't get married on New Year's Eve, though. I don't know. I mean, we have an old colleague of ours that's anniversary is New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, whenever they do it. Yeah, I just feel like there's just too many pressures and weather and people coming from all over. Not to mention it's a big holiday.
Right.
Your anniversary isn't on a holiday, is it?
No, it's in June.
Yeah, ours is in May. Yeah. So it's just kind of just keep it nice weather most around the country, and there'll be no worries. Then there was this woman. Now he
could have driven though. Don't you think he could have driven? He had enough time
from Florida. Yeah, but the weather. You had to drive through that weather, right? I mean,
it's not like Buffalo. I mean,
that's true.
I do realize there's weather, but come on, get in the car and drive.
I don't know how long it would have taken.
It's your wedding.
That's true. I would have been like, you're getting your ass in the car and hopping on the road. Right. Well, if he needed a ride, he could have called this woman. Now, I love this idea. And she really was sweet. Where is she? Here she is. This is what she was offering to do for people. Here we go. Da, 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 da. There we go.
Well, Savannah, it's actually pretty cool. She's willing to take up to 3 passengers anywhere they need to go in the country. So if your flight got canceled and you need to get home, she's willing to take you in her car and give you a ride where you need to go.
Like, look at her.
She Thanks has for the car visual.
People who try to read it, and I slow down so they can read it.
Jody Rush isn't walking around Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport with a suitcase or any bags for that matter, only this sign.
You can take 3 people anywhere they need to go. You pay gas and food and lodging if required. And
seems reasonable.
My Christmas gift to you.
The Atlanta resident
that's nice.
Amid chaos.
And people were saying, we're not getting tickets until December 31st. I have to get back to my family. I have to do this.
Rush is willing to take up to 3 people to their destination if their flight got canceled this holiday.
Anywhere in the continental United States, except for Alaska, because it's too cold.
That includes California.
Been there, done that 3 times.
Or the Big Apple.
Go. I love New York.
The weather doesn't scare her.
I know how to drive in the snow. I grew up in Michigan.
Rush paced the check-in area for Southwest Airlines on Tuesday. Thousands of flights were canceled in the aftermath of the winter storm that wrecked Christmas travel nationwide. Rush, who says she recently hit the jackpot herself, wants to pay it forward this week.
Well, what else am I going to do? Sit on my couch for a week? I don't have anything else going on. Why not be a service to help somebody who might need it? That you never know what that one piece of help could help another person, a family, anybody.
So if you need a ride or know someone who does.
I mean, it does. It's quite telling that no one has taken her up on it. Why do you think nobody's taken her up on it? I kind of feel people don't believe it. I mean, do you think
you kind of look at her like, what does she want? Like, what's going to happen? What is she going to take me for? I don't know.
I mean, I feel like people should have been jumping on that offer, don't you? But it seemed like she was kind of like, hello, right here. You can do it. And it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg on whatever airline. My only thought is maybe they're going too far, of course. But
I think it would take somebody awfully trusting to walk up to someone with a sign like that and say, really? Explain. Tell me more. Because she's being really nice and, doing it from the bottom of her heart and maybe to have a new adventure. But I think that's not how people would approach it.
Well, I mean, yeah, and I get that. Yeah. Now there's this really disturbing story out of Nashville that I want to play you this video of. So apparently a Nashville airport cop was threatening to arrest stranded passengers who were standing in line at the Southwest counter trying to rebook their flight. So here we go. Let's play this. Here we go.
You and her needs to leave or you'll be arrested for trespassing.
Are you kidding me?
Go.
Are you filming that? Yeah. Okay.
Right now, everybody to the unsecured side.
So he's trying to take him to the unsecured side.
Go. Yes. You have no ticket. You don't need to be in the secured side. Let's go.
We have tickets.
Your ticket just got canceled.
We're not here for that flight.
We're on a layover. Like, there ain't no like.
We're not.
Okay.
We're not even here for this flight.
Where are you trying to Tampa. So are you guys everybody here is trying to go to Tampa?
I don't know. No. We didn't ask everybody.
I got nowhere to go. Yeah, that's my wife. I got nowhere to go.
So he lets them go. But other people are like, what the hell?
Okay, so are we just going to be kicked to the curb, or are you going to ask us?
You can't kick us out of the airport.
You said you're going to arrest people for trespassing, for being at a ticket counter for
If you don't have a valid ticket and you're on the secured side or refuse to leave, you will be arrested.
We do have tickets. We have valid tickets. They're just not to Washington, D.C. or Phoenix.
All right. Well, if your ticket is canceled, you no longer have a ticket.
Isn't that crazy?
You understand that, right?
Because they reschedule you.
No, they don't. If they tell you
We are told at the counters that we have to see a CSA. We were told
right now, Southwest is calling us because you guys are congregated right here, and they're trying to close that gate.
So we're not
congregated.
We're in line to get information.
Okay. Well, we're telling you, your information is at the ticket counter. Please go to the ticket counter.
So you're sending us
to the ticket counter. Outside of the security.
Okay, that ticket counter. Okay. Thank you. What happened?
So, I mean, it makes a little bit of sense, I guess.
Yeah.
Nashville Airport put up a statement, and here's what they said. Where did it go? Basically, they want to ensure the safety of all passengers. There were operational challenges. And so travelers were asked to visit the pre-security ticketing counter for help to rebook flights. They asked a police officer to be dispatched to that gate to escort passengers to the pre-security ticketing counter. I just think that he handled it, and he was making it sound like they were criminals.
He was mean.
It was mean, right? And I get everybody's, all flustered and everything like that. I think it could have been handled much differently. He should have gone, I'm going to help you guys get to the people that are going to help you. That's what people want to hear.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you guys, this area, they're not going to help you. Follow me. Once you tell people like, I have a plan to help you, they will follow you. But he did it.
Surprising they did that.
Get out.
It's surprising they did that anyway, because usually the ticket people, like right at the gate, there's like one or two agents at the gate that are handling, computer issues and ticket issues.
Right.
And when they're done, they close down their computer and they walk away.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that anything had to be said, or that people were still kind of waiting there to figure out, to kind of get in, avoid the big line at the front and kind of get in under the wire. Because I'm surprised they just didn't leave.
Right. I mean,
If I think about what I would have done if I had been on that flight and it was canceled, that's exactly where I would have gone. Right.
Mm-hmm.
To the nearest desk and said, hey, I was supposed to be on this flight. It's canceled. What next?
I am sure there was so much confusion and so many people at so many different desks that once you found one that you liked, you know what I mean? You're like, I'm just going to stay right here. And that's what it's going to be. Now, do you think that the federal government should be doing more or should have done more. I know it's still happening right now, but at the height of this, to get these people to where they were going. So there's this guy Tyrus. I don't know. Fox brings on these weird people to kind of weigh in on issues, but he makes this point that Southwest and the federal government, specifically Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, should have done more. Here's what he had to say.
Here's the thing. The CEO knows that if it drops and they get in trouble, the government will step in and save them again. But we have to look, who does this really affect? You made a great point about there's no first class on Southwest, right? So the chances are there's usually a lower socioeconomical class that are flying these flights, right?
Exactly right.
So sorry, and they didn't update their systems. Sorry, that's why you get the cheap flights. Want to get away? Here's the cold part.
None of the flights are cheap, though, Tyrus, these days.
Compared to other ones, they are. Southwest is cheaper. You got to give them that. But here's the deal. And I'm betwixt my weeks right now. But if they were illegal immigrants stuck at the airport, buses would have showed up.
That's true.
The United States government would have found airplanes to fly them at night to get them where to go. So, and the same thing with the blizzard. Where were the federal agents? We don't see any help from this administration when American people are in trouble, because Buttigieg could make some things happen. We can get some buses. We can get some stuff. It might not be planes, trains, and automobiles. It might not be the way you get there, but we'll get you there because that's the American way. Nope. We'll let you know on Saturday. In the meantime, just sleeping at an airport, for anyone who's ever done it, not a good time.
I mean, I don't fully agree. I think, conflating, migrants coming and Americans. But on one hand, do you think there more could have been done? I mean, it was one specific airline, so it wasn't system-wide.
Right.
I don't know why it should fall on the federal government versus Southwest, which co-host Richard Fowler, who was on this Fox News program, was also saying. I'm sensing that he doesn't agree with the idea that Tyrus was kind of spouting.
Democrats had a lot of hope in Pete Buttigieg. Are they embarrassed of just how he's performed over the last couple of years?
This is not even about Pete Buttigieg, though. Let's be very clear.
But you saw that. He acted like a travel agent.
No, hold on. 90% of the flights that have been canceled in the United States is from one airline. A majority of the flights canceled around the world is from one airline. So to sit here and to blame this on the transportation secretary when you have one airline and one irresponsible, it's not even the employees of this airline.
It's not one airline.
No,
it is.
No,
90% of the I did not interrupt you. 90% of the flights.
But you're not answering what Tyrus said.
But here's, I'm making my point.
And do it.
90% of the 90% of the flights canceled in the United States today are from Southwest Airlines because you have a bad management, they have bad software. You can't blame the flight attendants, you can't blame the pilots, you can't blame the ramp agents. You have to blame the people who sit in the corporate suites of Southwest Airlines for canceling flights. Period. The end of story. To blame Pete Buttigieg for the fact that Southwest can't manage their planes is ridiculous.
You can't blame him for that, but you can critique the response.
Yeah, but could they put buses? Could they get buses just like they do for illegals and move people?
I mean, sure, but once again, this is about capitalism and an airline that cannot manage it. Don't fly Southwest Airlines.
All right, good point.
There you go. And I mean, that last statement, don't fly Southwest Airlines. It really does kind of support what I was saying yesterday. I think this may fundamentally change how much people rely on or make Southwest the first airline of choice when they have a big trip to make.
So there are some airlines that back each other up where they say, if your flights are canceled over here, these are our airline partners that will help get you.
Yeah.
And so if you're talking about federal rules or could the federal government help, possibly there could be some new regulations where airlines, are more required to help each other out. Right. When something is going on, everyone else steps up.
It's a requirement. You can't not do it.
Right. What would be frustrating to me is if there were seats aboard a flight that, was bound. I'll just pick a location from, Philadelphia to San Francisco, and there were open seats on a United flight where the Southwest got canceled and they didn't help. And there could have been, people could have been on those seats. Now, it probably was that people that had the wherewithal would go buy those tickets and those seats were taken anyway.
Yeah. But at least you would know At least it would be, you can sit at the Southwest counter and do it, not have to
Is
go
there
over
an
and
extra
get.
plane? Does United have an extra pilot? Like who can have? So could Buttigieg really kind of revamp the transportation agency by coming up with some new rules and regulations whereby this might not happen again in such a severe way? Maybe, and maybe he's looking at it, you know?
Well, Congresswoman Katie Porter put out a tweet yesterday. She wrote, airlines are supposed to refund travelers within 20 days for a canceled flight, but they're rarely penalized for failing to do so. I have a bill that not only gets people their money back sooner, but also fines airlines 10 times the original price for not promptly issuing a refund. It's going to take money. It's going to take money. And the thing is, Southwest is going to bleed money because they have to fix all of the things that went wrong, that they didn't invest in the infrastructure, all of the things. I've read article after article of employees saying, we have been sounding the alarm since this new CEO, actually the CEO before this one, took over. And they're saying that their original CEO that made Southwest what everybody knows it as or knew it as was great. He left. This other guy in between wasn't kind of a guy on the ground interface working with the workers and was more of an accounting perspective. And now this new guy that's having to take the brunt of everything is like the original guy, but now he's stuck with this pile of poop in this airline that he has to fix. And he's where the buck stops now. So even though it might not have happened and all these mistakes and lack of investment may not have happened under his watch, it's his watch now. And so he's the one that's going to have to be the face of Southwest and the face of very upset flyers. And he's going to have to try to fix it. And it's going to take a lot of money. And it's going to take some time. They're not going to be able to do this overnight. Okay, so we're going to do news in just a moment. When we come back, I will share you now that Kim's here. So I was sharing yesterday, Kim, that we have this huge, speaking of traveling, we have this huge summer 4th of July trip that I've been saving for and saving for and saving for. It's falling through, unfortunately.
Oh, no. Is this a Hawaii trip?
Yes. So I'll share the story. We've got some plans. Maybe putting out an SOS. Yeah, I can't believe it. I'm not trying to like make my problems everyone's problems, especially with people traveling right now and dealing with real problems. But when you're thinking about places to travel, one place might be South Lake Tahoe. South Lake Tahoe is dropping on the list. It was number 1 on a list of places to go as a top destination. Not anymore. I'll tell you where it is.
Well, they asked people not to come there, right? They said, don't do it. We have too much going on, too much COVID, too much environmental damage. We need a break from all you people.
Maybe it's a good thing. So we'll touch on that. I want to touch, of course, on the new COVID rules. How are you feeling about these new rules for people coming from China?
Jacob, go.
What? Oh, hi, Jacob. And yeah, I just think, when we're talking about traveling, especially during the holiday season, we have to keep all of these things in mind. And so it's one of those things where are you getting your booster? Is your whole thought process about COVID that was not one of the top Google searches this past year? Is that going to change? Are we going to be stuck in deja vu, which is my biggest fear? We'll touch on all of that. We have some fun stuff. Miss Ukraine for Miss Universe. If I think of what Miss Universe looks like, Miss Ukraine, that's what she looks like. So I'll have a picture of her coming up. But first, let's take a look at some news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report is sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Flight delays, cancellations impacting, if you can believe this, the 134th annual Rose Parade. There's Rose Parades from years past, but all the flowers made it safely to Southern California before the airline meltdown began. But the travelers, volunteers, marching bands, and others who want to fly west in time for New Year's Day, they're not faring as well. Many people stuck at airports trying to figure out alternate arrangements. Some of the float designers are pushing ahead to the finish line without some of their most prominent volunteer craftspeople and decorators as well. So we could see things maybe pared back a little bit at the Rose Parade this year, if that's something that you watch on New Year's Day. And we heard this week, and apparently now becoming official, the United States is imposing new restrictions on travelers from China. This due to a surge in COVID cases. So, starting January 5th, all air travelers at least 2 years of age originating from China, including Hong Kong and Macau, will be required to show negative COVID tests no more than 2 days before their departures. Some new words from Bill Gates coming in. He is warning the public about the dangers of climate change. In a letter published on his personal blog, Gates announced he will soon be a first-time grandfather, and the idea is pushing him to create a better world for children to grow up in. Bill Gates saying while getting emissions to zero by 2050 is necessary, it would be the hardest thing, he says, that human beings have ever done. We've got some flood watches here in the Bay Area. The National Weather Service issuing a flood watch for the Bay Area as a next parade of storms is on the way in. The flood watch starts Friday afternoon. It will last through Saturday evening. The rain gradually intensifying tomorrow with the heaviest rainfall, gustiest winds experienced on Saturday morning. Santa Rosa could get a 3-day total of up to 3 to 4 inches of rain. The wet weather should subside in time for New Year's Eve festivities. And then after a brief break on New Year's Day, more rain in the forecast for the first week of 2023. And we are hearing the Sierra could get 8 feet of snowfall. So there you have it. Governor Gavin Newsom, it looks like over 111 new laws were sent to his desk this year. And out of that number, almost 1,000 were signed by the governor. Some of the laws going into effect in 2023 include more reproductive rights following the U.S. Supreme Court's reversal of Roe v. Wade. There are also measures aimed to tackle environmental goals as well as the state's housing crisis. One law focusing on local governments extends a pandemic-era bill where meetings were conducted virtually, so we'll be able to keep doing them via Zoom or via electronic. That was set to end next year, but it will now go through 2025. And Avatar, The Way of Water, has now joined the $1 billion club. The sequel to the highest grossing film of all time, crossing the $1 billion mark at the global box office on Tuesday. Avatar 2 brought in nearly $24 million at the North American box office on Tuesday, along with almost $51 million overseas. I don't have this video, Nikki, so if you can find it, that's great. But I'll tell you this, so cute. We need to show it. There's another TikTok star being born, a California boy stealing the show at his second grade school Christmas show. Jaden is a student at Beechwood Elementary School in Menlo Park in the South Bay. He was recorded dancing his best TikTok moves at a school concert where the crowd was just cheering him on. The video went viral, racking up more than 700,000 likes since a parent at the school shared it. The young boy, decked out in 49ers gear in the video, also caught the attention of the football team. And
I saw him on Saturday.
Yes,
He was
yes. They had him at the game. He was dancing there as well. And so the 49ers wrote, "Okay, Jaden, we see you." That's right.
He did really well. I mean, he had the moves. He did not hesitate at all. I mean, he was kind of just dancing. He was a really, really cute kid. I can't find it right now. But yeah, he was there. They had him like on the screen for a long time. So everybody at Levi Stadium was dancing along with that kid who definitely had the moves. It was cute.
I might be able to present and show it to you. Here it is.
Let's see. TikTok sometimes doesn't work for me.
Lit up social media, got to show off his skills on a new stage today at the 49ers game.
Yeah, I was there. So there he is.
Here we go. Wow, he has so much confidence. Jaden performed in front of thousands during the fourth quarter of the 49ers game against the Washington Commanders at Levi Stadium. The team actually invited him to perform. Video of Jaden's dance moves upstaging his classmates during his school's winter concert in Menlo Park have racked up millions of views on Instagram.
There he is.
I am so impressed. ABC7 caught up with the second grader earlier this week at his home in Menlo Park. He says when he feels the vibe, he loves to get up and dance. Jaden's father says his son has been dancing since he started walking. How fun is that?
Isn't that cute?
How would you feel if you were like the parent of the kid that was like next to him? Just like, no one's looking at him.
Jaden's going to overshadow everyone.
Exactly.
That kid is really cute. And our thanks to ABC7 for that news report. So awesome. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. So if you need help with your taxes, Steve's at 888-TAX-DEAL. You can find him online as well at moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
All right. Thanks for joining us on the second hour of the Nikki Medoro Show. Click that thumbs up button. Do it. Smash it. Caress it. Jiggle it. I don't care what you do with it. Just make sure that you hit it just once, though. Just once. You only have to do it once.
You still need to jiggle it?
Jiggle it.
Come on, jiggle
just a little bit. Yeah. So you can do all those things. Go to theNikkiMedoroShow.com. Sign up to be a Patreon subscriber. It really helps us out. We adore all of you so very much. You guys are so generous, and we appreciate it. We appreciate all the help that we can get. PayPal email is up. theNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com is where you send it off, and we just love it. And we want to see you more into the new year. Okay, so let's get in to COVID, shall we? Now, you were doing this in your news. So now this doesn't start, which I don't know. I feel like this is the deja vu part of the whole damn thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. China had zero COVID policy, which, okay, on one hand, pretty ridiculous, right? People were starving, weren't getting their medication. I mean, it was ridiculous from our perspective. Now they're lifting it. Now it seems to be a free-for-all. And so now what's the rest of the world going like, but wait a minute. Now you guys are seeing a surge. We're seeing a little bit of a surge. I mean, just more cases, of course. And so now we have new testing requirements. But Kim, correct me if I'm right. This isn't right away. It doesn't start until January 5th, which gives people time to prepare. But at the same time, the virus doesn't give two licks. So
no. The virus doesn't care if you're prepared. This should be an immediate thing where, you put the rule in place one day and it starts the next. So
but
everyone needs to know they got to go get a COVID test. No, you got to go get a COVID test before you come to America.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're saying you can't come. We're just saying you have to be tested. And I will also say this. We also know that testing is not 100%. It's just not. I mean, you could test and it's negative, and then 8 hours later, you're positive. So,
but if you're going to wait 8 days before you put the rule into place, then what's the point of putting the rule into place? Because all those new variants are already here now. All those people that had the COVID issues that you worried about, they're already here. So then, why close why put the restrictions into place? The floodgates are already open.
Yeah, Kim has a really good point. I'm confused. People are roaming around here willy-nilly. Why do we care if China brings in their COVID if we have our own? And why is China being singled out? I think that it is the amount of people. Mm-hmm. This is just me. And I think we're just really scared of what this virus is going to mutate into.
Rates are surging right now in China. That's why.
And it's surging. But again, when you have surges, obviously the virus is going to mutate, and the vaccines that we have here in the United States, which are not the same as what they give in China, may not be able to handle whatever kind of mutation happens. And so I agree with you. I think that on one hand, China does seem to be singled out. On the other hand, we're talking about a place with a ton of people, right? And I don't know. It doesn't. It's like we're contradicting ourselves about the whole entire thing, and that's what aggravates me the most.
So that there are now 6 countries that are putting restrictions from passengers from China in place. Of course, the United States, Japan, India, South Korea, Taiwan, Italy, all announcing testing requirements for passengers from China. One of the problems is that government officials are saying the information coming from China about their
Yes.
COVID surge is really a problem, that the information isn't coming, that they
Yeah, they're
are,
not being
you know,
transparent
no.
again, and that was the problem at the beginning. They weren't sharing their information and we really
Yeah.
needed it and it didn't come. And so we only have control over what happens in our country. We can't, dictate what they do with theirs. This is where I think we try to have a little bit of control. And it's not as if we're not facing our own outbreaks. I think I mentioned this briefly yesterday. There was that Kirkwood ski resort had their 50th anniversary. Big COVID outbreak linked to that party. So what are you guys doing? You guys tell me in the chat. Have you gotten your booster? Are you even planning on it? Are you like, whatever, let's try this again and not do the lockdowns? Because that's what I'm kind of sensing is, okay, since we have therapeutics, since we have vaccines, since we have the technology to kind of adjust the vaccines, perhaps we're not as worried. Is that kind of the thought process here? Because I know damn well they're not going to lock things down again. I mean, I would, if we went back to lockdown, something horrific would have to be going on for that to happen. And God forbid that happens. So
I was talking to someone earlier who was not feeling well, and they were saying, I had COVID once. I was sick for a day because I'm vaccinated and everything. So I think so many people have had COVID now that they don't see it as a big deal. They don't see it as something that's going to land you in the hospital or the morgue because the vaccine has come and because people are somewhat protected, not from getting sick, but from dying, right?
Yeah.
So it's, will lessen your symptoms or what have you. So it's take off your mask and go Christmas shopping, take off your mask and go to the party at Kirkwood and just kind of, let it fly. And that's the new thought is we're so done with the restrictions of the last 2 years that we're not taking it seriously anymore.
Yeah. And I also think that we also have to learn the lessons on human nature, right?
Yeah.
We could want it to go a certain way. We could say, well, if this would have happened, this wouldn't have happened. We don't actually know those things. What happened, happened. What people did, they did. And now 2-3 years into this whole damn thing, I think we're very educated on the level that people are willing to put up with. And as regards to lockdowns and masks and things like that, my daughter wears her mask. She wore her mask on the airline. Now that I have someone in my family with a compromised immune system, I'm making sure that we're all kind of doing what we can because we know nothing is 100%. I think if anything, that's what we know. It just because you're boosted and vaccinated doesn't mean you're not going to get COVID. And just because you're boosted and vaccinated, sadly, doesn't mean you still won't die. I mean, there's no guarantee of anything. But does that mean we don't try to lessen everything? No, of course not.
If you can keep people from getting sick, why wouldn't you? And if you know that there's a surge in China, why wouldn't you put more restrictions? Why wouldn't you want to know if someone has tested positive before they come into the country? I would want to know.
Speaking of China, I saw this interesting headline. Because of the spike that they're seeing, they're also seeing a rise in prices of lemons. Okay.
Oh.
So apparently, prices in fruits rich in vitamin C and antioxidants are seeing surges due to higher demand. Traditional Chinese medicine and lemons. Locals have been griping about lemon inflation, with one user saying she forked out 12 yuan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. YUAN. It's about $1.72 for 3 lemons. And apparently that's like triple the prices in a day. Hi, Jacob.
Apparently my hand pointing go didn't quite work out.
It's okay.
Pardon.
It's okay. It's okay. You can handle it. Yeah. So lemons, peaches, and traditional medicine in the wake of the COVID surge in China, those prices are going up. Anybody in the chat room do anything kind of holistic, antioxidant sort of thing? I mean, I don't know. I take my vitamins. When I'm sick, I take some medicine, but I'm not. This Mo's like B complex and vitamin C. There was all kinds of commercials during the peak of COVID. The copper bracelets and the copper masks. And I mean, I remember Seriously, waking up. When you wake up in the early morning hours, as I did over at Station X, the commercials and infomercials that you see that were COVID related were insane. But
something I've done doesn't involve vitamins. This is your guys are going to think I'm cray cray.
What?
But early on in the pandemic, I saw this article about rinsing your mouth with Listerine and how it's possible that because some of the germs live in the back of your mouth, your throat, that could kill off some. So I thought, well, that won't hurt, right? So since the pandemic started, every night I swish and gargle with Listerine. And I mean, it burns your mouth. I can see how it would burn out anything
it's alcohol
lingering back there, right? And I haven't had COVID. Now, do I know if it's connected? I don't know, but I think I'm the only one left, this family, that hasn't had COVID.
Oh, there you go.
But every time we go somewhere like a play, right, with a gathering, even if we're masked up with a lot of people, I make sure everyone in the family is gargling with Listerine. They're probably at this point rolling their eyes at me, but who knows? Maybe there's something.
Well, had they been gargling with it and they got it, but you've been gargling with it and you haven't got it?
Nobody at my house has had it.
Nobody's had. I thought during the Christmas break somebody got COVID.
Nobody got COVID over here.
Oh, they just maybe got a little bit of a cold or something.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps it was COVID, but all the tests were negative.
There you
which,
go.
as you mentioned earlier, what does that say?
Yeah, I mean, I got a ton of tests at home. I got them through my insurance. They're just sitting there. Anytime someone gets a sniffle, I'm testing them. But
yeah, I tested 5 times. I got 5 negatives. So was it
there you
COVID?
go.
I don't know, but the test said no.
What other kind of, not COVID related necessarily, but like home remedies? Like someone emailed me and I think her name was Kathy. Forgive me, Kathy, if that was wrong. Because I had mentioned that my husband's been sick. We've been dealing with this cold back and forth. Again, testing negative for COVID, but he's been dealing with the cold. And so of course my mom goes, he just needs to put Vicks on his chest and go to bed. And that was ours. Like always Vicks on the chest, bottom of the feet with a sock on. I know some people, I think they do like the onion on the bottom of the feet. There's some, I think whatever you believe works for you, right? Not that it's going to cure COVID or anything, but if it makes you feel better to rub Vicks on your chest or put onions in your sock or, do whatever, humidifier, gargle with Listerine, like the mind does have a role in healing. So, oh, look at Kim. I swab my nostrils out with hydrogen peroxide early on. Interesting. Hydrogen peroxide, I believe, is a cure for canker sores. If like your kid ever gets a canker sore, just a little bit of hydrogen peroxide. Don't swallow it. But that was mine. What is this? Herbs that work.
That's the wrong. It showed the wrong picture, so now I have to try to share it with you. But this is one of the things that I fully believe in this product, like serious, full-on believe in this product.
Okay.
And it was one of these things in radio where someone recommended it to me.
Okay.
And it absolutely works. This is
it throat coat? Yeah, I knew you were going to put it.
Traditional medicinal.
I have some.
Has to be this brand and this thing. And I called them to say, wow, because they're in Sonoma County. This is amazing. And I was going to order a bunch to keep it at Station X in the kitchen for anyone in radio having a bad throat day. And they said that Madonna and President Barack Obama ordered it or President Clinton, it was back then, ordered it by the case. That's how, when you're talking a lot, when you need that, this stuff really works.
It does.
So, so if they say don't take it, don't drink it while you're pregnant for whatever reason, because it has this slippery elm licorice root in it or something.
Okay.
But if you have a problem with your throat or you have to speak and you're having throat issues, this is the stuff, I'm telling you.
Well, there you go. Buying throat coat and then coming home to my husband and telling him that I bought that. It just got some weird side eye glances, but it does work. I bought many a box of that because when you talk for a living, you can't take time off every time your voice starts to go out. That does work.
It tastes weird. It's not good.
I don't actually mind the flavor of it.
It's all right, but I wouldn't seek it out.
Oh no, it's not like I'm like I'd like a cup of tea and I'm gonna have throat coat.
No.
D writes in, I started taking elderberry gummies during the pandemic. Elderberry. I've heard of elderberry. I usually heard elderberry like around like the cold and flu season, not necessarily for COVID, but I think anything that helps make you feel better would work. I don't know where people get them. I've seen elderberry in like CVS though, but maybe it's not the exact same brand. But it's funny. I think it's whatever you were raised with. Like when I was a kid, if I was going to take like over-the-counter medication, it was like Robitussin. And my husband's a huge like NyQuil, Dayquil person. And I am like, no, it has to be Robitussin. It can't be NyQuil or whatever. But I don't think I played this for you yesterday, did I?
We're a Mucinex family.
Ooh, I get Mucinex as well. If I'm stuffy, I'm a nasal spray person. In my mind, I need the medication to go exactly where I'm stuffy. And so taking like an antihistamine orally in my mind doesn't work, and it hasn't worked for me. So I take like Flonase, or like the generic version of Flonase. And if I even feel like too many sneezes coming on, I'm like boop boop in my nose because I have a bit of a crooked nose. And if I get stuffy at all, any sort of swelling, it takes forever for me to kind of clear it out. But there was this news report from NBC Bay Area. I don't think I got to this yesterday. Did I? About the over-the-counter cold medication? No. I don't think I did. Okay, I want to play this for you. There's growing evidence, and this is by Ian Cole with NBC Bay Area. Apparently, there is growing evidence that over-the-counter medication that we buy all of the time doesn't work, but it's a specific medicine, a specific. It's not like acetaminophen, or ibuprofen. It's something else that I'm going to let Ian Cole with NBC Bay Area pronounce it for
you. When
you
you or your kids get a stuffy nose, there's likely an over-the-counter cold medicine you turn to. But some doctors and pharmacists say there is growing evidence they don't really work. Citing several studies, they say some versions of Benadryl, Mucinex, and Tylenol are among those that rely on an ingredient called phenylephrine to clear up stuffy noses. The ingredient is proven to be safe, but at least 4 studies concluded the medicine doesn't actually relieve congestion. 2 doctors' groups are now calling on the FDA to pull the meds from store shelves.
I think we should really look at the data and see if what they're claiming is true.
This doesn't include things like acetaminophen or ibuprofen, only the ones with the added ingredient phenylephrine. Dr. Julie Kim is a pediatrician at Ramlick Pediatric in Los Gatos.
That honestly, we don't recommend that for our patients, and we haven't for over 20 years.
Dr. James Wolfe went a step further on phenylephrine.
I believe that if there was an application for approval with the FDA today, it would never be approved for a number of reasons. First, it has limited benefit. Second, it has a long list of adverse effects.
He says it can elevate blood pressure and cause insomnia. He recommends an antihistamine and a day or 2 of Afrin spray instead.
When you take into account all those side effects and how little efficacy it has, I see no role for this drug in patients who have a cold.
Johnson & Johnson, which sells Tylenol and Benadryl, sent us a statement saying, in part, phenylephrine is a well-established decongestant, recognized to be safe and effective at specified doses by the FDA. As with all our products, we will continue to evaluate the latest science, product safety profile, and information from regulatory authorities on PE. Again, the studies did not find the over-the-counter meds did any harm, just that they don't work as decongestants. Dr. Kim says still she recommends saline spray for stuffy noses and to consult your doctor. Ian Cole, NBC Bay Area News.
So yeah, go check your medicine cabinets. I love also for congestion. I'm a neti pot user. Anybody in the chat use a neti pot? Have you ever used a neti pot, Kim?
I have never used one. I know
Ever?
people swear by them. Never.
Oh, I love mine.
I can't even imagine sucking water up one
You
nostril.
don't suck
and
it.
going
You don't
down
do
the
anything.
rest.
You don't
Like,
do anything.
I find it to be like a waterboarding situation, but my husband just told me he really wants one.
Okay,
So,
it was really, and they're cheap. You can get like a little plastic one at CVS or Rite Aid or something. You don't suck it up your nose. You pour it. So it's kind of like gravity does it. You're not like
and then
inhaling
aren't you
water up
choking
your
on the
nose.
water in the back of your throat? Like how?
No. So basically, I did this one time when I was a reporter up in Sacramento. I had a terrible cold. And so I did this whole report with video on using a neti pot. And so what you do is it's like a little teapot. It's like plastic. And you put the opening of the teapot in one nostril.
Right.
And then you have to the trick is, and they tell you to do this, you have to keep your mouth open. because it's the airflow. Okay, so you have to let the airflow, and so you just kind of tip your head forward, and the water just goes up and then around your nose, and then just comes out the other side. And there is nothing more satisfying, I am telling you, than to see all of it come out.
That's super gross.
It is, but when you're so congested,
I can't
that
even
all you
imagine.
want is relief. All you want is relief. I want that thing that used to be advertised on Station X, and it does, but it sucks it out. I forget what it's called. If anybody in the comments knows, it's like a machine. It actually sucks and like does all the water machines for you. I wanted that, but I love it. But I'm always congested. It's definitely, I think I have like something going on with my sinuses. So yeah, look at this. Flushing your sinuses is the most, okay, one of the most, I'm assuming, Troy, you mean good sensations in the world. Yeah, you need to flush your sinuses, Kim. Such relief during this cold and flu season, I'm telling you.
That's so gross.
All right, well, you know what else can bring you relief? If you have somebody on your side when the IRS comes a-calling. When
That's
you're
for
trying
sure.
to figure out your accounting, your HR needs, you wouldn't think that tax attorney Steve Moskowitz and Moskowitz LLP could do it all, but they can. And Steve joins us now. Steve, I was talking about the relief that we bring with, at-home cold remedies and things like that. But for you, you're the doctor for people's finances and tax problems.
And it really is a relief. And, there's so many people, you mentioned Station X, and I used to run some things in the middle of the night because people would be awake, laying there, looking at the ceiling and trying to be real quiet so the spouse wouldn't find out. And one of the things we do is give relief. And a lot of times when people would come into my office, and some of your colleagues, when they were in my reception area, they would notice the faces coming in and the faces coming out. And that's what I think a good attorney should do, a good anything. You come in with a problem, whatever it is, and you're paying somebody to fix it for you. And you should feel good about it. And that's true whether you're a lawyer or a plumber or an electrician or whatever it is. And, it's sort of like I was talking to a client yesterday. He said he felt so much better after he spoke to me. And I said, well, you know what? The only thing I did was common sense. And these are things that have been around since ancient Greece. If 3,000 years ago, somebody came into a wine merchant or a lawyer or a doctor or anything, it's the same, we're still humans. It's the same principle. You have a problem and you're paying somebody to take care of it for you. Or if you go into a restaurant hungry, you should go out satisfied and you feel full. These are basic principles that have been around for millennia. I'd love to say, I invented this, but I didn't. But and when I started to practice, what I always said is, to the best of my ability, I want to treat people the way I would want to be treated. If I went into a doctor's office and said, oh my God, doc, I'm sick or I'm bleeding or I'm worried about this or God knows what. And that doctor says, okay, I can take care of the problem. That's to the best of my ability what I try to do for our clients. And, we talk to them and we hear them and we take care of them.
And you do that whether, I think people think, oh, I need to be rich. I need to have millions of dollars. I need to have a huge company to call Steve. But Steve, remind people, it's just the average
You're talking
person.
to a guy that used to drive a taxi cab in New York City. I'm a simple guy. I was a poor boy that went to school for a long time. And the bottom line is most of our clients are regular middle-class people that have small businesses. The Fortune 500 are not my clients. I can't handle General Motors. That's too big for me. I can't handle a Fortune 500 company. But we're just fine for a small or medium-sized company. We're right for them. So if General Motors is listening, guys, I'm not really talking to you. I'm talking to small and medium-sized businesses.
Exactly. All right. So give Steve a call. He can help you, whatever your needs are. Give him a call, 888-TAX-DEAL or MoskowitzLLP.com. That's 888-TAX-DEAL or Moskowitz.LLP.com. Thanks, Steve, so much. You really help people and we appreciate it.
Thanks, God. And you know what? It's my pleasure to do it. I actually feel really good when I help somebody.
We know, and that's what we love about you, Steve. Thank you so much. Steve Moskowitz again, AAA Tax Deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. Okay, Kim's going to do some news. When we come back, we're going to lighten it up just a bit. Well, kind of. I do want to get to Miss Universe Ukraine. I have to show you the costume. So Miss Universe is happening. I don't watch these shows, but if you had to draw a Miss Universe, I want it to look like Miss Ukraine. So I'll show you her costume coming up. Also, this man is claiming that a comedian, a Comedy Central roast comedian who I've seen, Jeff Ross, who came to their prison, is the reason why he got the death sentence, or at least part of the reason why. So I'll explain that. Paula Abdul is having a bit of a fail. I might have time to touch on another apology from Whoopi Goldberg. That's coming up. A reminder that tomorrow, Tim Sika will be joining us. We'll do an end of the year kind of movie review. I just finished watching something. I'm going to see if Tim's watched it because I'm trying to squeeze in a bunch of different things to watch during this holiday break with my son. So that's all coming up right after the news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. The Kremlin is dismissing the idea of ending the war in Ukraine. Bloomberg reports Russia's foreign minister told state media today they will not discuss demands that include a withdrawal from occupied lands. This comes as Russia intensified its attack on Ukraine Thursday, Russia claiming it will never run out of missiles after that barrage on Ukraine. More politicians are demanding an investigation into how Long Island politician Congressman-elect George Santos got rich so very quickly. In 2020, the congressman claimed he was earning $55,000 a year, but his most recent financial disclosure form shows he was making millions from a company he founded just a year ago. That's peculiar. He previously admitted to lying about working on Wall Street and graduating from college, among other things as well. Some promising information from the Bay Area because Genentech has had a blood cancer drug approved by the FDA. It's called Lunsumio, and it's the first in a family of cancer-fighting drugs in the pipeline at the South San Francisco pharmaceutical company. The treatment is expected to cost, though, about $180,000 over 8 cycles. So expensive, but possibly game-changing. What? I got cancer for Christmas. A lot of people thought so. A British medical practice now apologizing after sending all of its patients a text saying they had cancer on Christmas. Really? Yeah.
What? Wait.
Yeah.
Why did they do this?
The Sun says hundreds of patients at the Askern Medical Center in Doncaster had all received this text on Wednesday saying they had aggressive lung cancer.
What?
About 20 minutes later, they received a second text saying, please accept our sincere apologies for the previous text. And what we meant to say was, we wish you a Merry Christmas.
What? Who made the I got cancer for Christmas sign? Somebody made that. Like, it's not like these things accidentally create themselves and then are sent out. Somebody wrote, I got cancer for Christmas.
Now, that's not the text. That's
I know, but
the graphic
still.
that I found. But the text to the patient said they had cancer, that it was an aggressive form of lung cancer.
But why would anybody tell somebody that they have cancer through a text anyway? Then don't you think that's kind of like especially an aggressive form? It's not, I don't know if there's there's not a good form of cancer. I'm not making light of it. But what I'm saying is if it's an aggressive, oh my God, you need to start aggressive treatment right now, this would be a face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball kind of conversation.
How do you imagine that 20 minutes though? On Christmas, that 20 minutes, you're surrounded by family. Do you tell people? Do you keep it to yourself? Are you crying in the bathroom?
You tell everybody to F off because you think you're going to die? How many
then you get the text, my bad, I'm sorry, Merry Christmas.
I would sue. I mean, I don't know. That's so litigious. And I know we always say, yes, sue them. But God, that's awful. What the hell?
I can't even believe it.
I can't.
Okay, so I'll end with this story. Back to Southwest again.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, because apparently, the bride and the groom, not the only folks affected. The folks going to the Rose Parade, not the only folks affected. Now we have football fans affected.
Yes.
That is because San Francisco 49ers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders, and that game is on New Year's Day. Now,
New Year's night, we got bumped to Sunday night game. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, football fans planning to fly to watch the game are having to reevaluate the itineraries. It's unclear how many people are going to make it to that game now, thanks to the fine folks at Southwest.
You know who won't need an airline ticket is Derek Carr with the Raiders. They're benching his ass for the next 2 games, which I find to be absolutely hilarious. It's almost as if the Raiders looked at the Niners and they're like, well, hell, maybe we should just look at our bench and see if they could do a better job. I'm sorry. Is that awful? Sorry, Raider fans.
No. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for all the people, the individuals and the businesses. So if you need help with your taxes, it's all about Steve Moskowitz. You know it's the truth. 888-TAX-DEAL or MoskowitzLLP.com. I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show.
If I can bag on the Raiders, I always will. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Speaking of flights, I just want to throw this in real quickly. So the $1.7 trillion omnibus spending bill that passed last week, it's hopping on an airplane all the way to be flown to the U.S. Virgin Islands because that's where President Joe Biden's on vacation.
Yeah.
So, it needs to be signed by tomorrow. They're going to be in St. Croix through the new year. And they're
check out all the all the places in America.
There you go. I mean, no problem with that. But yeah, I'm sure they're not taking Southwest for that. I do have to say, OMG, thank you right now to Pamela Kirby, $50 super sticker. Thank you so much. She wrote, Happy New Year, Nikki and Kim. Used my Medoro tote in the bookshop in Santa Cruz yesterday.
Yay!
So if
That's
you want,
awesome.
it's this tote right here. It's really a durable tote, right, Pamela? It's perfect for going to the library, going to the grocery store, lugging it around. I've been wanting to use it, but I'm just keeping all of my stuff to show right now. But yeah, it's a really durable tote. It's eco-friendly. There's the website, thenikkimedoroshop.com. And of course, the super stickers, just go to the live chat. There's a dollar sign there. Do what Pamela did and throw us some dollars throughout the show, any of the show. Big thanks to Jim, who threw us $10 earlier in the show, and a happy new year to everybody out there. And you guys are just awesome. And we really do appreciate it so very much. Okay. So, I did want to tell you this one thing though, and I really wanted to get to it. So as people are traveling around, Tahoe has been bumped. So last year, South Lake Tahoe, let me be clear. South Lake Tahoe was named the most in-demand destination of 2021. This year, it has been replaced by Prairie Village in Kansas. So apparently this is an upscale,
not my top destination.
Yeah, it's an upscale suburban community just minutes from downtown Kansas City. It says, it's number 1, and South Lake Tahoe didn't even come in at number 2. Where did it finished 3rd? It was followed by La Valette, New Jersey. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And Indian Rock Beach in Florida. So, South Lake Tahoe finished 3rd. According to Zillow, they say the most popular places on Zillow reflect a couple of trends we've been seeing for the past year, where last year's list was dominated by cities an hour or more away from the nearest major metro. This year's top cities are closer to major metros, potentially offering a shorter commute for residents who are transitioning from fully remote work to hybrid arrangements, or just another example of the fact that, people don't care about COVID anymore. And so they're fine with it. I have no idea. But yeah, Prairie Village. Anybody ever been to Prairie Village, Kansas?
Maybe it's cheap.
I have no idea. But that's the top destination if you're looking for a place to go.
Well, I know my news just ended, but I have a story. Can I pop a story at you?
Please, always.
So we've been following the death of soccer star Pele today, and now there's word from his daughter. She posted this picture. her name is Kelly Keely Nacimiento, posting this picture on her father's deathbed. This is one of the last pictures taken, and you can see
Aw.
the hands down there at the bottom.
Yeah.
She's
What a life.
put this on Instagram, showing the hands of family members placed on top of Pele's while he was in his hospital bed. In Portuguese, she writes, "Everything we are is thanks to you. We love you infinitely. Rest in peace."
Oh, I mean, look at
Three-time World Cup winner dying at the age of 82 today.
what a life. What a life. I mean, amazing football/soccer player. I mean, what a life. And to go surrounded by family. I mean, yes, it's sad, but if there's a way I want to go with hands like that wrapped around me, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I would want to go. So
Yeah, I
obviously,
just wanted to share that picture with you. Sorry.
awesome.
I don't mean to
No,
be a
no.
Debbie Downer, but you know.
Why? Honestly, like it's really my parents always laugh at me. I go, when people of a certain age pass away and
Right.
it's not tragic, it's just, they lived a full life and it was their
Yeah.
time. Yes, it's sad for us, right? We don't have this person in our life anymore for the family, but for them, I mean, what a life he led, right? And so
He
it's
did.
just
I still feel like 82 is too soon.
it's because we're getting older, Kim. It's because we're getting older.
I don't
Like,
know. I mean, my dad is 80,
yes,
you know?
my
I
dad is 82.
I'm
My dad
looking
is
at 90s. I'm saying I'm really
yeah.
hopeful that 90s is
Yes.
what it is. It's not 80s.
No,
I'm
I
not
want
ready to
100.
lose.
I tell
Yeah.
my dad, I'm like,
Yeah.
I want you to
Yeah.
be at like my daughter's wedding. Can
Yeah.
you make that happen? You know what I mean? I would obviously that's what it is. And it's sad for us. It's scary for us. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
for the person they want to keep living too, as long as their life is full and awesome and everything like that. Quickly speaking of family, I did want to throw in because I was teasing it about my debacle with the timeshare in Hawaii. Now
Yes,
I
tell
need tips
me.
and tricks. I need tips and tricks, people. Someone was
Okay.
mentioning Johnny Jet could possibly help me out. We were told that the timeshare that my parents owned that we were going to be used it'd be no problem. And now there's a problem. We can't use it. So now we have no place to go and we didn't start looking any earlier and we want to go and really our dates are kind of firm simply because my brother and his kids and my nieces and nephews, they start school earlier in Arizona and they have sports and all sorts of stuff. So this is the week that we have to go.
So how many people do you have?
12. And these are not little kids. I mean,
Yeah.
son is the smallest. He's going to be 12.
So I have two ideas for you.
Okay, lay them on me.
First is our gorgeous, hilarious, funny friend, Katie Lever, happens to have a house in Maui.
Okay. Does it
She will
say
rent it out
12?
to friends. You got to call her and ask her.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a holiday week. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I understand that. The thing is like, we want to be like, again, and I'm not, again, first world problems. I hate saying stuff like this.
Yeah.
I've been saving for this trip because I want to go all out. I haven't been to Hawaii since I was 13 years old. This is my kid's first time in Hawaii. I want to be on the beach. I want to that's what the timeshare was. So we're kind of looking for that. So if you guys have tips, tricks, recommendations, then Nikki Medoro Show@gmail.com. Send them along to me. It's really disappointing. My parents have been on the horn for like 3 days trying to figure out what went wrong and what we could do. And so I'm using my platform to beg for help. And I just feel like we should be all together on the beach for a vacation we've been planning for several years. But
Was the condo going to sleep 12 people?
we were going to get 2 villas.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, and I was finally like, I was graduating because I had saved. This is the little kid in me. I was graduating. I'm like, I want the good room, right? Like I was willing to pay more for the good room. People, you feel me, right? So when
I
you're going
feel
with
you.
12 people, like
Mhm.
you want, and so I had it all saved, Kim.
Yeah.
All saved. So we
Mhm.
have to make it work. Yeah, but it's just that it's a holiday week and I don't know what happened with the timeshare, but if anybody has any recommendations, I'll reach out to Katie Lever, keep my fingers
Yeah.
crossed that it'll work for all of us.
I
Because
have a couple
we got
irons in the
big
fire
kids.
for you. I'm going
Okay.
to. I'll be sending you some information.
Please do. But
Mhm.
remember, I don't want to be on top of each other. I know we have requirements. I want to live in luxury. I really do. That sounds terrible. Does that sound terrible? I've been saving for this freaking trip. I want my own bedroom.
Yeah.
I don't want my kids in my room. And I
Oh.
want to be on the beach. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. My places might not be the places for you.
Are we going to be on top of each other with
Yeah.
12 people? Yeah, no, we've done it. We've done like so many places where we're sleeping on top of each other. And I just want to go to Hawaii and have that like paradise experience. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? So if anybody
So
has
there's a
any,
couple of houses that are the most amazing places to stay right on the beach.
yeah,
Beautiful. And there's two
they're like
houses right next door to each other.
$25,000 a night, probably.
No, about $5,000 a night. And if you're
Yeah.
going with several families, then it works out if you don't mind everyone packing in, right? But if you are wanting the
Yeah,
lap
that's
of
a
luxury and
yeah,
not to
that's
be
okay. So not
jammed
that
in,
lap of, yeah, that not that lap of luxury, not
Yeah.
$5,000 a night. So
No.
less than that.
Yeah.
But I just want my, how about this? I want my own bedroom and I want to be on the beach.
Yeah.
Okay. But those are my requirements, people. Help me out. I know it's a ways away, but I need help. Okay, so there was okay, hold on. First, I already did that story. Okay, there is this guy who is facing the death penalty, and he is claiming that a Comedy Central roast is why he was sentenced to death. Okay, so this is a Texas man. I'm trying to find his name. Ed Shearer. He's an Gabriel Hall was convicted of killing Ed Shearer back in 2011. Okay. Ed Shearer was an older Navy veteran, and this Hall guy also stabbed Ed's wife, Linda. Now, Linda survived, but Ed did not. Now, how does Comedy Central fit into this? Well, apparently, Jeff Ross, do you know who Jeff Ross is, Kim? Do you ever watch his stand-up? So his MO, like, one, he's like a good opener. He opens the Comedy Central roasts on television, and he likes roasting people. We saw him this past year in San Jose, and he'll bring people up to the stage who want to be roasted, and he's good at it. Like, he just looks at you, but you have to have a thick skin because he'll roast the crap out of you. All right. And so anyways, he did a roast at Brazos County Jail in Texas. This was in 2015. Now, this guy, Gabriel Hall, was there. Apparently, he was brought up to interact with Jeff Ross, but the footage never made the final cut. But apparently, some of the things that were said were like he was trying to joke along with the conversation, but apparently his lawyers said that the jury or whoever was in charge of sentencing thought that he was making light of his offense. That he was not very remorseful for the whole thing because he was joking around with Jeff Ross about it. And that's why he was sentenced to death. I think it's a bit of a stretch. Hall's lawyers said that he wasn't even supposed to be contacted by Jeff Ross, but it was his decision to go up and get roasted by him. Hall told Hall's lawyers said he experienced extensive childhood trauma, PTSD. He was very, very poor. That's what led to the shooting or to the stabbing that killed Ed Shearer and injured his wife. But yeah, they're saying that Comedy Central should not have, I guess, had a comedian go to the prison to roast these people. But apparently Jeff Ross is, if you want to watch it, the reason why he did the whole thing is he wanted to shine a light on the number of people that are incarcerated and are, the justice system and how unfair it is and things like that. All I'm saying, I would not want to be roasted by Jeff Ross, especially in prison when some of those jokes probably could be used after he leaves, and who knows what would happen.
No, if you're still on trial or if you have a parole hearing coming up, anything can be used against you, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
so
yeah.
if you look like you're not remorseful or somehow, that you have not accepted responsibility or you don't really feel bad about what you've done, I mean, that's on you. That's not on Jeff Ross.
Yeah, they say Hall's lawyers say that Ross made hostile and dehumanizing statements about jail, and the comedian called it summer camp. So they were kind of making it seem like he wasn't also being punished enough, and so they think that maybe that's why he also got sentenced to death. But I think it's more along the lines that you killed this person and injured his wife. So the Comedy Central and Jeff Ross do not have a statement at this time. Go ahead.
Do you know who Vivienne Westwood is?
I've heard the name. Actress?
No, she's a fashion designer icon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And she just passed away. She was apparently instrumental in the whole punk rock movement.
Oh, yeah.
Vivienne Westwood, iconic punk fashion designer, dead at the age of 81. So she died today. Pele died today. They say that bad things come in threes. So these things
geez.
Vivienne Westwood has passed away.
Wow, that's crazy.
I have to admit, I
iconic
didn't know who
fashion
she
designer.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not up on fashion. Oh, what was the funny joke? Oh gosh, our old engineer, Karen Reed and I. What was it? There was a designer that had passed away, and Oscar de la Oscar de la Renta. Remember when Oscar de la Renta passed away? And I looked at our friend Karen, and I go, "Oh, Karen, Oscar de la Renta passed away." And she's like, "Oh, the boxer." That's Oscar de la Hoya.
That's Oscar de la Hoya. Yeah.
That was our level of fashion knowledge at the time. But yeah, it was pretty funny. But yeah, Vivienne Westwood, wow, fashion designer. Speaking of fashion, I can throw in this story since we're talking about it. Now, if I was going to describe a Miss Universe, right? Wouldn't it be badass if it was this woman?
Oh.
That, my friends, is the costume, the Miss Universe costume for Miss Ukraine.
Wow.
Isn't that badass?
Yeah.
I'm like, if I had to think of a Miss Universe, that's what I would want to be dressed as. I mean, she's absolutely gorgeous. There she is. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her name. But Victorila Apasenko.
Are they all in like angel costumes like that?
No,
Or is
no.
this something specific to her?
No, this is her. I mean, they have costumes, but I don't think that any of the other costumes are like that. No, this is just the one for Ukraine. I think I had a description of it real quickly. So Miss Ukraine.
Cool.
She wants to bring awareness to gender equality in the military through the Female Quotient, which is an organization that advances gender equality in the workplaces. But yeah, that's her costume. Miss USA is where is she? I have a picture of her. There she is. She does not have a costume on it, but her name is Rabani Gabriel. Rabani Gabriel is Miss USA for Miss Universe. Where is she from? Texas. Well, she went to the University of North Texas. She got a bachelor's degree in fashion design with a minor in fibers, and she's the CEO of her own sustainable clothing line. So there she goes. She's actually the first Filipino American to win Miss USA, and she shares the importance of embracing your culture. So there you go.
These women are so gorgeous. I have to remind myself there's airbrushing involved. You know,
I don't care though. I want this costume.
I do too.
That's all I care about. I mean, look at that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if, like, not that I'm saying that the war in Ukraine should have any stance with the judges, but that costume wins for me.
Yeah.
If there was, I haven't seen any of the other ones, but that's a badass costume. All right. Speaking
of Flo, beautiful, strong statement. Yes,
exactly. All right. Now, speaking of people that look a certain way, look at this picture right here.
Who is that?
Do you know who that is on the left?
At the familiar, but I can't place.
So that's on the right. The blonde is Kathy Hilton, Paris Hilton's mom.
Okay.
That's at her Christmas party.
And that's her sister.
That's Paula Abdul.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So Paula Abdul is getting called out for face tuning herself. She looks like she's 16. Doesn't she look like she's 16 or something in this picture? Like, she looks so young.
That's Paula Abdul?
That is Paula Abdul.
It doesn't even look like her face.
I know. Jamie Lee Curtis just was kind of going a little bit viral yesterday for a video that she posted about how women aren't allowed to age gracefully. Paula Abdul is 60. I know gorgeous 60-year-olds. I'm not saying anything of that. That is not Paula Abdul's face. And I'm not criticizing her. I just wish that the technology and this is what Jamie Lee Curtis was talking about, the technology that's readily available on our phones to make us look not how we look at all is really detrimental to all of us. It really is. We need to. Sometimes I'm guilty of using it. I try not to use filters. My daughter tells me all the time, take the filter off, which I love. I mean, unless it's like an obvious, like Snapchat, I have dog ears and tongue, right? But other than that, I wish that people didn't feel the need to use that. Let's show that picture again. I know people. Look at that.
I mean, you say she looks 16. It doesn't even look like a 16-year-old Paula Abdul. It looks like some other
like her
person.
cheeks. It's her cheeks like that make her younger. Like she has like a little bit of baby fat still in her. That's why I said 16. Like, like a younger person that's still kind of losing.
I was thinking that was Paris Hilton's sister.
No, that is Paula Abdul.
Yeah, I don't.
I knew if I just threw it up there, you would not be able to guess whatsoever. But yeah, but
yeah,
she could do whatever she wants. I'm not hating on her. What I'm hating on is the fact that she felt the need that she needed to do that. I thought it was, and I'm bummed that I didn't pick up more pictures, because what I loved though about the pictures that she was posting, Paula Abdul is like my height. She's like 5 feet tall. She's 5'1". She's really, really tiny. And a lot of the pictures that she was taking at this party, she was on a step and everyone else was standing on the floor. And I know that stands so that your head is at the same height as everyone else's. It was really cute, but she doesn't need, we could see the step. She doesn't need the face tuning or anything like that.
And that's the thing is, let me show this to you. I don't know if you could help me put this up, but the thing is, she doesn't need that. I mean, she's
no,
beautiful.
exactly.
Look at her. She's 60 years old. Look at her. I'm like, she doesn't.
She looks
that's
great.
A real picture of her who on a television show or some such. She doesn't need it. Like, what's
the only
wrong
thing
with being a 60-year-old woman? You look beautiful and wonderful and gorgeous. So move on.
Well, even if you had wrinkles or you were aging or you had smile lines, I mean, believe me, I've thought about it. I'm like, maybe a little Botox. I wonder what I'd look like. But it's because we're inundated with all of these pictures of people that don't look their age. And if like everyone just agreed to stop doing it, it'd probably be a shock at what people really looked like. That's my thing. If you're using all these filters on like dating apps and things like that, at some point, you're going to have to show up face to face and they're going to know that you don't look that way. So yeah, my heart goes out to Paula Abdul. Just do it. Makeup's one thing. I mean, I guess if you want to do plastic surgery, that's a decision that you can make. But you don't need all of those filters or anything like that, because she's absolutely, and she's a successful woman in her own right, but it has to be tough to kind of be at that holiday party. You know what I mean? Surrounded by like Kim Kardashian, the Hiltons, and then you're taking all these pictures and maybe
not
those
happy
wrinkles
with the way
were
you
just
look,
and
what are you gonna do?
Oh, it's unfortunate. All right,
I hear you. I mean, I feel it.
Everybody feels it.
I have to have
but-
my picture next to yours every day. So
Oh, you're gorgeous. Stop it. And I'm so happy to see it every single day. Okay, tomorrow, Tim Seek is going to talk end of the year movies, maybe the best of the year.
Nice.
We'll take your recommendations as well. Trying to confirm a teacher for tomorrow in a new segment I want to start. I don't know how regularly we'll do it, but I'll take ideas. Why do you do it? Like, why do you do what you do? And I'll be talking to a brand new teacher. Like, why would you want to be a teacher? We didn't get to this story, but I want to talk about it tomorrow. Did you hear, and I apologize, Kim, if it was in your news, that Alameda County admits a tallying error in that ranked choice voting and just flipped it to the other person. So a person won with like 41 votes, and now because of the tallying error, it's going to the other person. Are you happy to hear about stories like this, knowing that the system is in place to check these sorts of things? Or do you think this is just giving kind of fuel to the fire for those that are criticizing kind of our things? And then there's the whole idea of ranked choice voting and the confusion that some people have with it, right? It could be difficult for a lot of people. All right. One last time, click that thumbs up button if you have not already. Become a Patreon subscriber today. Do it today. It'll be great. Go to theNikkiMedoroShow.com. Become a monthly Patreon subscriber. Check out the videos I have up there. We love it. Absolutely do. PayPal is also an option for those of you that like to donate that way. The email address is theNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. And of course, if you want to be part of the extra cool club, pick up some merchandise. Show the love wherever you go this holiday season. Go to theNikkiMedoroShop.com. Pick something up. Send them some pictures if you get it and you want to. We'll show it on the show. We really do appreciate it so much. Again, a big thank you to Pamela. $50 super sticker. Jim Slayton with $10. We love the way you guys are supporting the show. We really do appreciate it. And again, join us tomorrow for our Friday show. Take it away, Jacob.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful person. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.